Hello lone wolves, it's Monday, the week has started and I have some nice content for you. First of all, I want to say something about my last video titled Best Dating Advice for Men Above 30, link in the description, in which I gave my honest views on dating above the age of 30. And because I'm the solitary wolf and not the solitary dictator, I want to give some room to other voices as well today. The comments made very clear what the best dating advice is, according to a good chunk of my viewers, which I'm going to reveal now. So according to them, the best dating advice for men above 30 is don't. You're a simp. Don't. Do not.
Don't.
Plain, safe and simple, guys. Thank you all for commenting and let's get to the main subject. A few weeks ago, I had a subscriber called Warren Wentoob recommended me to read a book called The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. Apparently, Warren has had great success in his life by using the methods that Ferriss writes about. Coincidence or not, that book has been laying on my shelf for many years, so I decided to dust it off and read it during my train rides to work and home. After reading a few pages, I stumbled upon an idea that really opened my eyes, which is very simple. Emphasize your strengths and do not tweak your weaknesses. Here's a quote from Ferriss, and I translated it from Dutch, so it might be a bit different from the original one, but here it comes. It's much more lucrative to use your strengths than to try to repair all defects in your gear. I repeat, it's much more lucrative to use your strengths than to try to repair all defects in your gear. I reread this quote a few times and started thinking. I looked at myself and the people around me, and it hit me that a lot of people are wasting their lives trying to fix their weaknesses while neglecting the qualities they already possess. That's why I think you should make a proper distinction between self-improvement and self-reparation. And I want to explore this topic even a bit further, asking the question, when is self-reparation recommended and when is it not? I will share some of my own experiences and observations and wrap it up with a conclusion. Now let's get into it. Last month I ran 10 miles at a race, and I never expected myself to do this because I've never been good at long distance running. I've never had the stamina for it and my body is clearly not made for endurance. I have short muscles and I'm a bit more gifted when it comes to explosive activities like sprints or a game of squash. I have no problem putting on some muscle mass either. Anyway, I had never attempted long distance running, so when I started training I really had to build myself up from scratch, meaning that I could barely run a mile in the beginning. Especially considering my humongous alcohol and cigarette consumption in the past, this wasn't so surprising. On and off, it took me a good year to get myself to the level that I was able to run 10 miles in one session. So I signed up for that race and I ran 10 miles under 110 minutes. It turned out that 10 miles under 110 minutes is way below average. A guy I know ran the same day, he barely trained and ran it in 90 minutes. My younger brother even ran it in 75 minutes once. And although I'm glad I did and I really enjoyed it, I had to conclude that I simply have no talent for long distance running. Overall, I just don't have a body made for sports. I've known this since elementary school. I sucked at soccer, sucked at basketball, sucked at baseball, but was okay at racket sports, hockey, and actually quite good at gymnastics and anything that involved sprinting or blunt muscle power. But somehow I just wanted to prove the world that I could do a 10-mile run, and getting there took me a tremendous amount of work. I still do run every week for the physical and mental benefits, but I'm focusing on short distances now. So what I want to say with this story is that focusing on the things that you are not good at will take double effort and give you half the results. Nevertheless, I needed to do it. I've got another story. I hate public speaking and I'm not good at improvising. I'm a slow and deep thinker and most of the time an introverted person. On the other hand, I'm good at writing and can make a nice PowerPoint presentation. So if I'm able to use visuals and I'm allowed to read my story from my paper, then I can manage it. Basically, giving a presentation in front of a group costs me a lot of effort and results are often mediocre. This fact has been bothering me since my first year in college, and a few years ago I decided to get some help. I joined a local Toastmasters group, and this helped me to reduce my nerves a bit, but I'm still not a gifted public speaker. And the majority of this group isn't. Most of them are people that are continually putting enormous effort into repairing their gear or their inability to give a great speech. One day I just thought, well, I know that I can manage it if I really have to, but I'm not going to use all my energy to upgrade poor skills to mediocre skills at best. I think I better put my energy into things I'm already good at and get great at it. It's like how I approach this channel. I script my videos and put a little bit more effort into the visuals, research, and selecting proper music, rather than sitting in front of a camera without preparation, just spitting whatever comes to my mind. Some people can do this, but not everyone has that gift. Me, I want to take time to think what I'm going to say and write it down. It just works better for me. In my life, I've spent a lot of time trying to fix myself, to mold myself into something different, and trying to develop these qualities that were not naturally given to me. When I was a kid, this behavior was encouraged by some people around me, but telling me that my creative pursuits were just bullshit and forcing me to do exactly the things that I was bad at, structurally pointing out my flaws and weaknesses. This ingrained in me the false fact that I was deficient and in perpetual need for repair. And that's how I started to approach life, spending years doing that. It's only much later that those people started to see the value in my creativity after I had some success with it. Also, you see this with a lot of these dating coaches and self-help gurus trying to sell you this package of human characteristics and skills like you should this, you should be able to do that, etc. Because if you don't, then you won't reach a specific goal. And what they are basically selling is the idea that you are dysfunctional and incomplete and that you are in dire need of repairments. They sell you the idea that you're somehow less of a person if you don't reach the goals they claim to push you towards. For example, if you don't have the women lined up to date you, if you don't earn 6 figures or more, or if you're not that macho alpha male. So first, they shame you, and then they sell you the cure for the thing that you feel ashamed about. Quite clever, isn't it? So when is self-reparation recommended and when is it not? Well, I certainly wouldn't advocate to not self-repair at all. For example, you could have a crippling form of social anxiety, maybe so bad that you can't even leave the house anymore. Or you could be suffering from a severe depression. Or your life is being ruined by an addiction to drugs. Or you might have anger issues so bad that you've lost your job, your family, and your friends because of it. And that you're now spending your time punching against the wall with bleeding knuckles. I mean, there are endless cases in which self-reparation is actually recommendable. It needs some self-reflection to identify these cases. So you need to spend some time looking in the mirror and being brutally honest with yourself. Because if you're truly in need for self-repair, I think there's no room for self-improvement. Or put differently, you can optimize your self-improvement if you repair the things that sabotage you to do so. Nonetheless, we still see many people spending their lives repairing themselves instead of using the qualities they already possess and developing them. Isn't developing your qualities, i.e. your strengths, the definition of self-improvement? This reminds me of a few articles that I've read in the past, which I was able to retrieve on the internet about, let's call it, the myth of going out of your comfort zone. You know, you hear this one often. Get out of your comfort zone. Well, okay, let's take the next train to Syria and run around naked over there. We either get bombed the shit out of, or we will be shot because running around naked isn't quite appreciated over there, as far as I've understood. But you get out of your comfort zone, that's for sure. And how about the famous soccer player Lionel Messi? Author and speaker Richard Engelfried writes about Messi in an article, link below, and I quote, "Is he truly so successful because he gets out of his comfort zone every day? Or is he successful because he persistently stays in there?" End quote. Simple, but thought-provoking, right? I mean, what if Messi, who is 5'6", would aim for the NBA? You know, just to get out of his comfort zone. Well, it's clear that it's in the interest of the NBA and Lionel Messi himself that he stays in his comfort zone, which is playing soccer, which is doing what he's good at. And I know that getting ahead in life often goes hand in hand with pain and exposure, but you can still get ahead within the compounds of your comfort zone. Freelance journalist Jacques Veldman wrote an article called "Life Isn't a Party," link below. She states the following about the comfort zone, and I quote, "The myth of stepping out of your comfort zone is just one out of many from the prescriptions and insights that have spread from the therapist's narrative about how to live best and reach a happy state of being. Those self-help mantras have become normal in a sly manner, which people use for themselves and others." End quote. So let's wrap this up with a final thought. Self-improvement is different from self-reparation. The latter evolves around repairing your gear, i.e. working on your flaws and trying to develop qualities that you simply don't have. In some cases it can be rewarding, but most of the time it's just a waste of time and energy. I think that as individual men, focusing on self-development rather than self-reparation is golden. We are going our own way, so what the hell is stopping us from mastering our strengths and developing the greatness that we already have in ourselves? Well, nothing. Except those self-help gurus that are shaming us for being deficient while offering us the cure to be complete. But being deficient and complete are subordinates of their own subjective ideology, which is precisely the thing they want to sell us. You're not an alpha male, you're poor, you're not charismatic. Shame on you. Well, perhaps you are a great programmer, an empathic listener, a gifted car mechanic. Focus on that, I would say, and get those aspirations of repairing your flaws and shortcomings off your shoulders. Repair only the flaws that are sabotaging your ability to improve your strengths. Thank you for listening. I've been asked a few times where people can donate to me. First of all, thank you very much that you want to support me. Because I just started out, I did not expect people to offer me support at this stage already. But now it's happening, I'll just give in. You know, I really underestimated the amount of work it requires to run a YouTube channel and create content. In fact, it eats up almost all of my free time. But I love doing it and I see that people like it and I feel that I'm just getting warmed up. It adds meaning to my life, which is entertaining you guys and hopefully giving value and empowerment to yours. So if you want to fuel my mission so I can continue making more content, please consider making a donation. I set up a PayPal link and a Patreon page, links below. And this weekend my Patreon page will be officially launched with a secret bonus video. To my first patron called Motivacio para Todos. I'm sorry I'm not so good at Portuguese. Anyway, thank you very much, man, for supporting me. If you like my channel, please like, subscribe and bang the bell. You can also follow me on Twitter. If you want more from The Wolf, please visit my blog at thesolitaryWolf.com. Again, thank you for listening. Keep it solitary. Goodbye.